Today's episode of Off the Timeline is titled Miami Broke College Football Early. In November of 1996, Miami played a game that felt wrong. Not wrong on the field. The hits were real. The crowd was real. The stakes were real. Wrong because of where it was. Late in the broadcast, an announcer said something that barely registered at the time. This game feels larger than the league it's in. That sentence matters, because in this alternate history, that moment doesn't fade. It fractures college football. This isn't a story about Miami getting bored and leaving the Big East. This is the story of how the sport structurally failed to contain them and how a new conference became inevitable. Now, let's be clear up front. This is an alternate history. We are not rewriting wins and losses for fun. We are pressure testing incentives. Here's the core idea. By the mid 90s, Miami had outgrown its container, that being the Big East Conference. Not competitively, but structurally. And once TV money accelerates, containers matter more than trophies. So what happens if Miami doesn't wait politely for the system to catch up? What happens if the sport is forced to reorganize a decade early? That's how the Atlantic Power Conference is born. Now let's set the table for the structural mismatch. Miami in the mid 90s is doing three things simultaneously. One, they're driving national TV ratings. Two, they're anchoring recruiting gravity across the Southeast. Three, they are carrying a league not designed for football primacy. The Big East was never built to manage a national football brand at scale. No title game, basketball first governance, limited leverage with broadcasters. Miami's not just dominant, they're subsidizing the ecosystem. And here's the key pressure point. TV executives don't see conferences, they see inventory. Miami games aren't just games. They're events being trapped in September feeling Novembers. That mismatch creates inevitability. And that sets the table for why reform fails. So you may be asking, why doesn't the system just fix itself? Why not expand the Big East? Why not negotiate better deals? Because reform requires consensus, and consensus favors the slowest actor. Basketball school resists football first governance. Administrators prioritize stability over leverage. And everyone assumes Miami will blink first. They don't. And in this alternate timeline, Miami commissions independent TV valuations in 1996. The results are clear as day. A Miami-centered slate outperforms entire conferences. At that moment, the question changes from can this work to why are these brands not playing each other every year? Once that question is asked, the map is already irrelevant, and that sets the stage for the APC formation. The Atlantic Power Conference is not a rebellion, it's an admission. A football first league, brand gravity driven, TV optimized. 10 schools, zero apologies. This is not about geography, it's about inevitability alignment. Every founding member joins for a different reason, but all of them sense the same truth. If we don't move now, we'll be reacting later. And the sport can't stop it without admitting what it's become. That's why the NCAA doesn't intervene. That's why bowls adapt instead of resist. And that's why in this alternate history, the BCS structure bends around the league instead of containing it. And that sets the table for the hidden consequences. The APC works almost too well. Money floods in, ratings surge, title games feel like a national semifinals. But a hierarchy forms immediately. Some schools are gravity wells, others are content. And the first school to detect this isn't the loudest, it's the quietest. Penn State realizes early that this league amplifies pre-existing power, not equalizes it. They don't complain, they don't leave. They wait. That's important because stability does not mean health. It means delayed consequences. And that sets the stage to the first cracks. The first school to leave isn't a power, it's Syracuse. Not out of spite, but out of misalignment. Basketball still matters institutionally. Football visibility doesn't translate into control. And when they leave, nothing happens. No collapse, no panic. The machine keeps running. That moment terrifies everyone else because it proves something uncomfortable. You can leave, and the system won't slow down. And another theme from this alternate history is from here on out, loyalty expires. Now we're going to set the stage for a few things you may be thinking. One, Miami couldn't pull this off alone. Correct. They don't, and they don't need to. They just need to be the axis around which others align. Gravity doesn't move planets, it lets them move themselves. You may also be thinking this feels too modern for the 1990s, and that's only if you ignore TV economics. Cable acceleration doesn't start in 2010, it starts in the mid 90s. The sport just pretends it doesn't notice yet. You may also be thinking, why not just expand the Big East? Because expansion without governance reform just multiplies the problem. More mouths, same leverage. Miami's not impatient, they're just out of runway. You may also be thinking, why doesn't the NCAA stop this? Because stopping this requires admitting conferences are TV products. And once that admission is made, the illusion is gone forever. And that sets the table for the long shadow. By the time the playoff era arrives, the damage is already done. Voting blocks form, guardrails appear, power is formalized, not redistributed. Ironically, the structure built to contain Miami's advantage only exists because Miami broke the system early. And in this alternate history, Miami doesn't win every era, they author the eras. So, no, Miami doesn't destroy college football, they reveal it. They force the sport to become what it was already turning into, just sooner, louder, and without permission. If you enjoyed this alternate history, hit like, subscribe, and tell me, which program do you think would have benefited most from this world breaking early? Because once the container cracks, nothing ever fits the same way again.